you can drop your questions. I'll be able to ask your questions on your behalf, and hoping that my guest, Mr. Nondo, will be able to respond to your questions. Mr. Nondo, let's begin our discussion. Why PF come Thursday?
Thank you very much, sir. The Patriotic Front is the choice of the people. And we have very few things to say because we understand that a lot of Zambians knows very well that Patriotic Front is the only political party that has come to do things that they've never seen before. Remember, Mr. Chifokola, Zambia got independence in 1964. We had UNIP that ran the affairs of this nation for 27 years. We could see a few things. After that, we had MMD that came in 1991, and we saw what they did. And here comes the Patriotic Front from 2011 up to date. Look at how Zambia has changed in every sector. When the Patriotic Front came into power, we inherited a very defective economy. Zambia was a bush, including the capital city, Lusaka. But if you see, or if you look at what has been done, in a period of 10 years, everywhere you go, in all the 10 provinces, Zambians still can't believe that there can be an administration that can deliver so much on the many promises that they gave in a period of 10 years. They have no doubt that the Patriotic Front of all political parties that have run the affairs of this nation is only the Patriotic Front that has managed to deliver 95% of all the promises that we gave to the people of Zambia. For instance, when we came in 2011, we found Zambia with 2 universities. And it was in our manifesto we promised that we are going to deliver. We are going to build universities in this country. As I speak, we have 7 public universities that are running effectively today, and many other under construction in all the 10 provinces. When we came in, we found only 1 university teaching hospital. Today, when you go at UTH, there are 5 specialized hospitals within the grounds of UTH. Look at Levi Mwanawasa. Look at the specialized hospital that has been built, newly built, along Airport Road. When you go to the Copper Belt, Ndola General Hospital today is a teaching hospital. When you go to Kitwe, in all the 10 provinces, we've managed to build 500 health posts. Our mothers who used to give birth under the trees are no longer do that today. Every community, no matter how remote the area is, has a health post near to them. We've done so many things. As we speak right now, if it was 2-3 years down the line, we would have gone through load shedding.
I know that we'll go sector by sector, infrastructure.
No, I just want to put everything together.
And my question was why PF, and I will be able to get into those, sector by sector, the infrastructure that you're boasting of. But there's something that you said, that when you came into power, you inherited an erring economy.
Exactly.
Mr. Nondo, one who is watching, one who has been a citizen of this republic, who say when the PF came into power, kwacha to $1 was at 5 kwacha. Today we are talking about 90. The issues, unemployment levels were very low. Today we are talking about 70%. You know, food basket for a family of 5. Today we are talking about 8,000 kwacha per month. And you say you inherited an erring economy. You talk about Lusaka being a bush.
Yes, it was a bush as compared to what it is today.
Let's talk about the issue of the economy. You inherited an erring economy.
Yes, it was a very bad economy that we inherited. Number one, we don't use dollar as Zambians. We use kwacha. And there's been a very cheap explanation as to why we had a kwacha that was more powerful then than it is today.
Which is a weak kwacha.
Let me explain. Let me explain to you. What used to happen was the governments or administrations at that time never cared about anything else. They never cared about building schools. They never cared about building hospitals. They never cared about building roads. Their focus was to keep money in reserves. So when dollar goes up, they offload dollars to improve liquidity. And people believed that, no, kwacha was very strong. Now, here is the situation. If kwacha was strong, why did all those administrations fail to build roads like the Patriotic Front has done when dollar is at 21 kwacha? Why have we managed to build all these hospitals? Why have we managed to build all these airports? Why have we managed to build all these schools when dollar is at 21 kwacha? Yet, those that presided over the affairs of this nation.
Listen, when you say they are not building schools or hospitals, the very Levi Mwanawasa, you just came and refurbished it, or you increased the capacity. It was Lusaka General Hospital,
to what level?
And it was built under the MMD, and it was commissioned by the former President Rupia Bezanbanda.
You and me knows that Levi Mwanawasa was just as small as this studio we are in.
But it was built.
If you go there today, if we remove what they built, that thing which they built, and you look at the infrastructure that is at Levi Mwanawasa today, you'll agree with me. And I know you know. That was just as good as a clinic at Chingwele. The Levi Mwanawasa that we had in the MMD. Now, the Levi Mwanawasa that we have today under the Patriotic Front is very different. Very different. Look at all the infrastructure infrastructure, that has been done. Within 10 years, we've managed to do that. And remember, MMD was there for how long? For 20 years. And that's what they could manage to live for this country. Now, if PF left today, look at the things that we are going to live in 10 years. And this is the reason why Zambians are not interested in doing any experiment when it comes to leadership.
You've talked about the airing economy. Zambians used to buy a 25 kg bag of mealie meal at less than 100 kwacha with that airing economy.
How old were you then?
Today, you want to talk about...
how old were you then?
Yeah, I'm talking about under the MMD.
This is what I want to
talking about the MMD.
Under the same MMD that you are talking about.
The bag of mealie meal was below 100 kwacha.
The same MMD that you are talking about. P.K. Chishala sang a song complaining about the high cost of living. So you need to understand that when time goes, things change. But as we stand right now, even our economy was not as big as it is today. If you look at the population then, it was very small compared to today's population. Government had lesser responsibility then than it is today. So you can't compare what used to happen in 1991 and what is happening today. When the population...
I'm talking about 2010, 2009.
Even 2010, we were not the same.
Yes.
Even 20...
So,
you remember
I'm talking about 2009, 2010,
let me
when the bag of
you.
mealie meal was affordable.
Let me remind you.
Today, Zambians are failing to have 3 meals in a day.
It's very affordable. It's very affordable. Let's not speak on behalf of many Zambians. Let's speak for ourselves.
Yes.
You speak for yourself. Many Zambians are able to afford 3 meals a day. And I'm saying this because we are able to see what is happening from our neighboring countries. The people are coming from Malawi, they are coming from Tanzania, they are coming from Zimbabwe, they are coming from Namibia, Botswana, all our neighboring countries. We have influx of foreigners that are coming to buy food from us. So when you tell me that we are not affording, how are we affording to feed others when we can't feed ourselves? There's no logic there. There's no logic. Tell me if there's any Zambian who is going to buy food from Malawi, or Zambians that are crossing to buy food from Tanzania.
Mr. Nondo, I've told you that the BNB for a family of 5 is 8,000 kwacha. Zambians today, the average salary is, for example, for a civil servant.
How much were they getting in MMD?
Give it at, let's put it at 4,000. The people that you're comparing who are coming to Zambia to buy, we are told in South Africa, in NES, gets about 35 Zambian kwacha.
And what's the GDP of South Africa?
And they are coming to buy food in Zambia. So when you try to compare that it is not true that Zambians are failing to have 3 square meals. If a family of 5, they need 8,000 kwacha to survive for the whole entire month.
This is why I'm saying.
Then someone is getting 1,500.
This is why I'm saying.
Are you getting any logic there?
There's logic, and there's no logic in saying somebody is getting 30,000 per month, and they are failing to have food in their house. They need to travel and get food from somebody who is getting 2 kwacha. If you look at the GDP of South Africa and Zambia is different. So let's speak to reality. Let's speak to reality. If they are getting 30,000 per month, then their money has no value because they can't have food in their own country. They have to travel and buy food from where? From Zambia. You get the point? You can be in Lusaka, you are getting 5,000 per month. And somebody who is in Shangombo, a civil servant, is getting 2,000 kwacha, but he is able to sustain himself because where you are, it's more expensive. So you can't say our economy or our people are suffering when we have people that are coming from other countries to look for commodities.
And these countries like South Africa are supplying us with food. If you check the chain stores.
Why are they coming to buy from here?
It's you who's telling me that they're coming to buy.
They are bringing things that we don't have here. Like apples, fruits, bananas. Now that we are growing bananas, and I can assure you that in the next few years, we are not going to be getting anything from South Africa, especially that the Patriotic Front has put a policy this time around. If you check in our manifesto, which is going to be translated into law, that any agricultural product that is produced locally here in Zambia must find itself in all the shelves, in all the shopping malls. There will be nothing that will be coming outside this country that is being produced in here. That's progress that we are talking about.
Let's talk about the healthcare. I know that I had to cut you. You talked about the health post. You talked about that you've built 5,000. The promise was to build 6,000 plus.
We are talking of 10 years, and it's a gradual process. It's an ongoing. In 10 years, you promised to build 6,000 plus. We didn't say 10 years, because we have a 5-year plan. Every 5 years, we do have manifestos. In 2011, we had a manifesto that took us to 2016. And we delivered everything that we promised in that 5 years period. From 2016 to date, we have a manifesto that started from 2016 up to 2021, and we've delivered on all our promises. Right now, we are talking about the new and the only political manifesto in this country that has been produced by the Patriotic Front, which will run from this year up to 2026. So we did not promise to say in 10 years we are going to do. We said in 5 years this is what we are going to do. The other 5 years come, we say this is what we are going to do, and the people of Zambia have seen, and they are making comparisons now.
On the issue of hospitals, how many did you promise in 10 years that you are going to build? How many health posts?
We promised enough, and we've built enough. We've built hospitals and health posts. Health posts, I can give you the figures. 500 across the country. We've built 7 specialized hospitals across the country. And this is why today you cannot have a Zambian that is going to have a cardiac operation from South Africa or anywhere else, it is being done within the country. And we have people from neighboring countries that are coming to access health facilities and health services right here in Zambia, which never used to happen before the Patriotic Front came into power. So that is an improvement, and we need to be given credit for that.
Let's talk about the hospitals and the health posts that you've built. Citizens today, when they visit these health posts, are being given prescriptions, no medicines. And Zambians are saying, why building infrastructure if you don't have medicines?
When did you last go to the hospital, sir?
2 weeks ago.
And did you find medicine?
No.
Or you didn't? What was your problem?
I'm here to ask you questions. I'm here to ask you questions.
No,
and when I'm talking like this,
I'm laying that question in order to respond.
Are you denying the fact that Zambians are not given prescriptions? Are you saying whenever Zambians have visited these health facilities are given medicine?
So let me explain to the people out there what is happening. For the very first time in the health sector, the Patriotic Front government has managed. They've managed to bring the health scheme to make sure that citizens access quality health care in all the facilities. So what is happening is that if you go to the hospital, you might not find the medicine inside the hospital. But the scheme that is there is that you be given a prescription inside UTH. When you come out, you go in that pharmacy. They will give you medicine.
That is at UTH?
Yes, for free.
That is at UTH?
You are not buying. I'm giving an example.
What
UTH,
about at Charleston?
Everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. All these hospitals are running under the same scheme. So there's no one who is going, if you are given a prescription, it doesn't mean that there's no medicine. They will give you a prescription by the doctor. You go to the pharmacy.
And they tell you, say, go and buy.
No, that's not true. That's not true. If that's the case, we wouldn't have been having people coming from outside Zambia to access health facilities in Zambia where there are no medicine. Let's be factual.
Mr. Nondo, I don't know how you are in touch with the ground when you say this is not happening. And it breaks my heart when you say you are given a prescription and you're given that medicine.
I'm a living testimony.
Yes, I'm coming. And that you're given, you'll be given a prescription by a doctor and you are told there is medicine at the pharmacy. I lost my father-in-law a month ago. And I was given that prescription to go and buy. And I went outside the hospital to go and buy medicine.
The only medicine.
So when you say it is available,
all essential drugs are very much available in all our hospitals. I have my father and my mother that have been patients for a long time. They have different conditions, cardiac and what they call crotorosis, the clotting of blood. I take them to the hospital almost after 2 weeks. After the break of a COVID pandemic, the hospitals have been wanting to reduce on traffic. They've put outside patients on cause. So when their appointment day is near or due, the doctor will call the patient to say, "Mairo mukese ku hospital na mkwata appointment." Now, which doctor is going to call a patient from home when he knows to say there's no medicine in the hospital? So the issue of saying there's no medicine in the hospital is an opposition narrative. And it has failed to work. And unfortunately, even some of you people have come to buy into it. Tomorrow morning, I can sacrifice to come and pick you, sir. You choose any of the clinics or the hospitals.
Charleston, because that is where I take my families.
Wonderful. I live in Charleston, somewhere there.
So
we can go there, and you ask me to say, or we ask to say, probably if somebody goes to say, no, because it's not a common It's not a common illness. Limikuti baalanda ati umuntu tatukwete wakankulira. But all essential drugs are very much available in all our hospitals.
Let's talk about human resource. You've built hospitals and clinics, but people to work in there, doctors and nurses are few. We are told the doctor to a patient ratio is still high in this country, and at one point we saw the Resident Doctors Association protesting that the work is just too much. We need government to employ more. You failed to employ doctors.
It's not true, sir. The resident doctors did not protest because work was too much.
There are a number of reasons. I've just picked on the issue of employment. We have clips.
No.
We had interviews with
they protested.
Dr. Sampa.
They protested.
I'm telling you that we had interviews with Dr. Sampa where he talked about issues of employing doctors. Do you want me to go for that?
Let's put it this way. The issues of doctors. We've built hospitals. I want you to show me even health posts. I want you to just point at one and say, Mwalikula Levi Mwanawasa, there are no doctors or there are no workers, health workers in there. The Patriotic Front is the only administration that has broken the record of employing health workers in this country. We've employed about 24,000 from 2011 up to date. 24,000 health workers have been employed. And remember, when you talk of the health sector is not all about doctors. We have nurses.
Yes.
We have different workers, including accountants and so forth. So the issue of doctors protesting, those that were protesting, in fact, that protest was illegal. Are you aware that doctors on internship have a professional responsibility to save for 2 years without a salary, just on allowances? And what they were protesting for were allowances. And remember that this was not the first time they protested. Even in other administrations, I will remind you that during MMD, Bamayowana Rumango, when she was government spokesperson, the civil servants, including doctors, took government to task. They sued government because they abrogated the collective agreement. And do you know what she said? It's on record. She said government do not have the money. So ba union imangana mkwatenda mabapele niko lipile nini mwevo. But we are not as coward as they used to be. The issue of doctors that we are protesting was resolved. They've all been paid. There's no one who is being owed. We paid each and everyone. And it was not only doctors, but many other civil servants. The retirees that we inherited, who never retired during PF, have been cleared.
All the retirees?
Those that we inherited have been cleared.
All those that you inherited have been cleared.
And the process of... Mr.
Nondo, I want to get this one. All the retirees that you inherited, you've paid them.
Exactly.
Retirees protested last year, and they were promised by the then minister in charge of justice. That was in June. That come the 8th of June, which was a Monday, the retirees were to start getting their retirement
Tomorrow,
packages.
sir, you can go to the Minister of Justice.
And up to now, those retirees still call and come to Muvi, and they're saying...
This is why I'm challenging you that tomorrow morning, you can go to the Minister of Justice and see for yourself the status quo.
So if they have been paid, why are they still protesting? Why are they still storming Muvi TV to say we haven't been paid?
When did they come here?
They came this year. And I've told you that they were promised...
I'm telling you that 6 months ago, 23 million was released to sort out that issue.
6 months ago, I'm talking about June.
So you go to...
I'm talking about June. They were promised on the 8th.
You go to the Minister of Justice and check for yourself.
So all these retirees who are protesting then...
When did they come here to protest? That's my question.
I've told you that they were told by the 8th of June that they will start getting their monies. They were here 2 months ago.
They will start.
Yes.
So they started and the process has been winded up. You go to the Minister of Justice tomorrow and check the records. Then you can actually bring me back and say,
so you're putting it on record that all those retirees that retired before PF formed government have been paid. All of them.
Those that were protesting.
All of them have been paid.
Those that were protesting, this is why they are not protesting. They've been paid.
All of those.
And yes, those that were protesting.
All of them have been paid.
Because remember, retirees retire every day. You get it? And we are not saying we've paid even those that retired yesterday.
No, I'm talking about those that were protesting.
Those that were protesting.
All of them have been paid.
They've been cleared.
Thank you so much for that. Let's talk about issues of unemployment. You came into power as the PF, promising people or Zambians that you're going to create jobs, more money in people's pockets. I know that your party, some of your members have said Zambians misunderstood the term more money in people's pockets. But let's talk about the issues of unemployment. Right now, as we are speaking, we have over 50,000 unemployed teachers. The unemployment rate now stands at 70%.
Okay.
You said you've delivered on all the promises that you promised Zambians in the 10 years.
Exactly.
Why are we still having the unemployment rate standing at 70%?
Remember, let me take you step by step. The teachers that you are talking about, the number of teachers that are graduating from universities and colleges has only increased in the Patriotic Front. And the reason is very simple. We had only 2 universities, very few colleges where we could graduate our teachers. Now that the Patriotic Front has created an enabling environment and put up different colleges and universities where teachers are graduating every day, the Patriotic Front has managed to absorb 75% of the teachers that are graduating. When we talk about these schools we've built, this is why I said, show me one school that has been built and it's just a structure, there are no teachers in there. Is that not employment? We are building schools and filling up those schools with human resource. We are talking about trained teachers. We are very much aware that the number is very huge, and this is why we are working so hard to make sure that we cushion pupil to teacher ratio. And we've done exemplarily well as compared to what used to happen before we came into power.
Today as it stands, what is the ratio? Teacher to pupil ratio. Today as it stands.
It's about 30 pupils, one teacher. But when you and
Mr. Nondo,
let me
it's good that you and I,
when we were
live in the same, township, which is Choston. If you go to Kaporiomba, it is 80 pupils to one teacher. I can take you there.
I have my nephew.
70.
I have.
Wait, when
I
you
have
are
my
coming
nephew.
from Choston, I come from Choston, and they can give you this example.
I have my nephew at the same school you are talking about.
Yes.
It's not true, sir. It's not true. It's not true.
So under this PF government, according to you, is that teacher to pupil ratio is at 30?
Yes.
With what you've done,
exactly.
with what you've gathered.
Exactly.
So those that have gathered this information of 80, 70 pupils to a teacher, they are lying.
They are lying. Because even when you and I were in school, I remember in grade 7, we were about 15. In grade 8, we were about 21. Up to grade 12, I was at Impika Boys. Those that are listening to me would actually bear witness with me. And I don't agree that the ratio now can go from 30. Yes, Africa pali 80. No. Let's not do politics in that way. Let's not do politics. Let's be realistic. We have a lot of work to do. Yes, we agree. And what we are saying is we are on course. We've done far much better than those that are criticizing us. Because some of them that are criticizing us served in previous administrations. And they terribly failed. But today they are coming back to tell Zambians to say, no, we can do better. I'll give you an example of some of our colleagues that are in the opposition today. They are blaming the economy. No, the economy is not performing well. Not long ago, some of them served as finance ministers. After being fired for poor performance, he goes into the opposition and comes back to say, no, we are going to fix. We have a fixing team. What did you do when you saved? In that crucial portfolio, we have several of them that once they are fired because they can't perform or they were corrupt, they'll go and form a political party and begin to tell people, no, this government is very corrupt. No, PF is corrupt. But few days ago, you were claiming to say, I'm PF, 100% PF. I'm a founder of PF, and I'm still PF. Now, because your presidential ambition fails to work, you join another political party in the name of alliance and so forth. Then you begin to say, no, this government is corrupt. If the patriotic front is corrupt in that manner from such people, then they are part of the corruption. And why should people trust them? Imagine you are working for Muvi. Tomorrow you change, you work for Diamond, and you start saying, Mwati Muvi ni nani kana. But you presided over this company. Probably you served as a manager. Now you want to blame somebody for your own wrong decisions. And this is what we are seeing. So it's important that as leaders and as media, we help people understand things that are happening. Unlike running with the narratives of the opposition. Tamuri Mutima hospitals when medicine is there.
Mr. Nondo, I find that to be I find that I can't take that when you say running with the opposition. I am a citizen.
No, I'm saying
I visit hospitals. I have children that are in school, and when I go there, and I'm given a report book or a report form, and I see that my child in that class, they're about 80. You are here telling us that we are running with the opposition. No, I take my father-in-law to a clinic and I'm told, say, go and buy this medicine, and you say you are running with the opposition. How?
No, I didn't say you are running with. I said let's help the people.
Yes.
Not to run with the opposition narrative.
So the fact that if one visits a clinic or a hospital, he or she is given a prescription.
Remember,
to go and buy medicine outside the hospital, they are running with the opposition.
Remember, you and I are citizens. You are a journalist, I'm a politician from a ruling party. It's important to acknowledge that there's not any special place for those of us that belongs to the Patriotic Front. We access the same hospitals, access the same schools, all these facilities. Tamakasangati wa market yaba PF, yi hospital yaba PF yaba nani. You mentioned a school where I have my nephew. You get it? We don't have our children and our relatives who go to special schools just for PF. So when you give an example, when you give your experience, people will listen. When I give mine, you don't want them to listen because me, I'm lying. You are telling the truth. And that has been the general, narrative of the opposition. When they speak as citizens. They speak for the people. When we in the ruling party speak, we are not citizens and we don't speak for the people. They will say the Zambian people, are we foreigners in our own country just because we are in a ruling party? That's the narrative I wanted us to clear. Because every time they will complain, no, Zambians are saying, which Zambians? You remember when we started, I said, let's learn to speak for ourselves. When you say Zambians, even those in the Patriotic Front are Zambians. Ubunganga bwa shota, nishinaifuna bushota. Ubunganga bwa dula, nishinaifuna budula. I don't see us going, bonse tuya palevi. Nga ya shupa sana tuwa ku UTH. Nga ya shupa pa Chelston batuleta. There's nothing like when you go there, walasanga ukukuliba opposition, ukukuya feba nani.
And so the experience that Zambians or citizens are facing when they begin to bring them out.
No, there are some that are bringing genuine concerns. And government always listens. For instance, when they say, police tabade ikara bwino. Bareikala mutu boba tulaba reikala munga mwasanga n'abashingula na mwandaba naye kashikerini. If it was around this time you would say ba police limbiba opposition. But the Patriotic Front listened, and look today how decent our women and men in uniforms are living. Go pa Charleston pale. That has been done under the Patriotic Front. You go to IBEX, you find there's a complex for Air Force officers. All that is the work of the Patriotic Front. And development is a gradual process. You don't expect that, a government that has just been in power for 10 years.
Do you have, let's go back to the issue of unemployment. You are saying you are doing so well and you've delivered.
We've done far much better.
Do you have plans like to absorb the unemployment levels, the over 50,000 unemployed teachers?
That's what we are working on. When we build
How are you going to absorb this?
We are building schools in all the districts. Remember, the Patriotic Front is the only administration that came to put up new districts. And by doing that, we've actually propelled the development of those areas. And in each and every area, we are putting schools. You can't employ teachers without schools. This is why we are saying it's a gradual process. We are at a point where we have a lot of schools that are graduating, teachers. And here is a government that has just been in power for 10 years. And it has done so much to absorb those that we found. We found a huge number of unemployed teachers. We are employing 3,000 teachers annually, which never used to happen. Imagine if we never had structures called schools. Where will we take these teachers? No wonder we embarked on a very ambitious, development, putting up schools so that we can employ teachers in there. There's not any government that will come today and say, okay, but teacher won't say, okay, for instance, the way our colleagues in the opposition are claiming to say, ngamwa to vote at 10 hours, 14 hours, nishifintu fya chinja. How are they going to employ these teachers if there are no schools, if there are no schools built for those teachers to go and work from? How are they going to employ them? This is why we are telling them, be realistic. Everybody must know that you cannot be a teacher without a school. So what do you start with? Do you start by training teachers without schools, or you put up schools, then you start training teachers? So we have teachers that were never employed when we came into power. And that's the bunch we started with, absorbing them slowly and step by step. And we are on course.
Let's talk about the road network, infrastructure when it comes to road-wise. How have you fared?
You asked a question about more money in the pocket. I like giving this example. Before the Patriotic Front came into government, kukazungula, twakwete pontuni. Do you know how long it used to take for transporters and truckers to cross into Namibia or Botswana? Close to a month. Because the pontoon could only accommodate 3 trucks. And you had a huge number of trucks marooned at the border. They used to spend a lot of money on security. They used to spend a lot of money on upkeeps for close to a month. Now the Patriotic Front comes in and puts up a modern infrastructure in the name of a bridge that everyone, even our neighbors, had to come and witness when we were commissioning that. It's taking less than 24 hours for truckers to clear their trucks and cross into other countries. All the monies they used to spend has gone into their pockets.
That is in Kazungula.
Just one example that I'm giving. Just one example that I'm giving. It used to take 3 days for me to reach Kasama. Because nganai malero pano, na raya ndare pakapiriero na connecta na Tazara, the only transport that could take me kumushukumyesu kukasama kwa makasa. It will take me 3 days. Sometimes in a quarter derailment, you even go for 4 days. But today, I would call kukasama. Kulakwine kumungu kumalole na abatumina. Ndeisa. When I start off by 16 hours in the mukasama.
Is it the same with other provinces? Are Zambians in other provinces also having the same easy access?
Very much. Ngamwaya ku Eastern Province. When they want to go kuna Konde, they used to come kuno ku Lusaka. They will pass through Lusaka and then back connect the Great North Road. But today, kuf mafe kwa chama wapitana kwa tumbo kwene kubuyombe ulikuwa matumbo now tuntukira muuna nikane na Konde Isoka Road now here. When you go to Southern Province, konse ama roads have been done to ease the movement of goods and people, and this has resulted into a lot of economic activities. Farmers are no longer suffering the way they used to suffer.
When you talk about people in Eastern Province, I don't know how they are having it easy when they don't have a bridge.
Where?
Chipata Lundazi Bridge.
Chipata Lundazi Bridge is being done. It was destroyed. It was destroyed by rains. And it's being done. I'm sure everything, all the materials that are needed for that bridge has been delivered. And as we speak, probably in Mairo Mukalamu na commission.
Mwinunga Jimbe Road, which is also an economic road leading into Angola.
We have a contractor.
Is it done?
We have a contractor per site. What does that mean? If you are hungry at home, hello mami bayambo kuipika ku kitchen, will you worry that there's no food? Unless ngo amuna ku kitchen na kutala lafita kulife na ngufimo, then you can get worried. Fish fresh tika pano mwatu alaja. But wakaona kansima kabwata kitchen, why should you worry? Just be patient. All the major roads, all the economical major roads are being worked on. We may not have done with them, but we have contractors that are working on these roads.
Moving on, this is the special interview, a political advert paid by the Patriotic Front, and I'm discussing with a member of the media team at the national level, member of the media committee, Bwalya Nondo, discussing why PF come Thursday, which is the 12th of August. Let's talk about political violence. And when we talk about political violence, my first question, Mr. Nondo, is the Patriotic Front a violent political party?
I think many Zambia will be able to agree with me when I say Patriotic Front has been preoccupied with the development and transformation of this nation than anything else. You've witnessed a lot of political violence. And I've been on different forums and I've challenged those that can come forward and say the recent political violence that has taken place in this country is being perpetuated by the Patriotic Front. I want to challenge them. What happened in Impulungu? Was it the Patriotic Front? What happened in Nakonde? What happened in Matero? What happened in Kanyama, where we lost our brothers? The Patriotic Front this time around has no time for political violence. We are victims of political violence from our colleagues who do not have any clear agenda whatsoever. The UPND has chosen to go a violent way. They are very desperate because they know to say they don't have what it takes to convince the people of Zambia that here we come, we will do better than the Patriotic Front. Anywhere where you hear political violence today, it's the UPND that are doing it. You have videos, it's all over, it's on record. I want to challenge anyone to come forward and show me to say, if PF ever.
So when there was a political violence that occurred in Mandevu, and the Zambia police IG, Kakoma Kanganja, informed the nation that the violence that was experienced in Mandevu was as a result of the PF blocking a road after they heard that the UPND were having a procession in Mandevu.
I did not hear that statement from the IG.
It is on record.
Now, let me give you the scenario of the Mandevu. And the UPND went in a mode of defense to defend themselves. Here is the situation. Tell me, how can 3 boys or 5 boys, 6 boys or 15 boys at the bus station block a convoy of over 60 vehicles of one Akainde Ichile?
Are you saying this is not possible and the Zambia police lied to the Zambia?
Listen, this is what was happening. The UPND, in their own understanding, they believe that anyone who is found, those cowboys on different bus stations, they are labeled as PF. So when the UPND are in their convoy doing their campaigns, whoever they find at the bus stop, they will jump from their convoy and start beating them. Because some were putting on a PF regalia, and that they don't like. And they come to report to you, the media, to say, no, we are being blocked. Surely.
It is the Zambia police that reported, not the UPND. I don't know why you are bringing in the UPND.
No,
it's the Zambia police.
It's on record that the UPND themselves gave a statement to say, no, we are being blocked. We are being provoked. Now I'm giving you a scenario that 2 boys, now we are bus stop, can they manage to block a convoy? Because you would have heard to say, no, PF yarishta mobilize by youth from different, parts of Lusaka. But those boys that were attacked in Mandevu are co-boys at the junction. And you know very well, every citizen knows that the Patriotic Front is more powerful in any way that you can think of than the opposition. If we wanted, or if we didn't have a sound and caring leadership, this country would have not been where it is today. Our president took it upon himself, knowing that he's not only president of the Patriotic Front, but president of the Republic of Zambia. On several occasions, he has condemned violence. He has put it on record saying, I don't care who you are, whether you are PF or not. I'm not here to protect anyone who is going to break the law. If you find yourself in that situation, the law will visit you.
On the 1st
and
of
as we speak right now, we have some of our colleagues who are our members who used to involve themselves in political violence some time back. They are serving jail sentences.
On the 1st of May, when Chimbakambwiri was returning to the PF, violence occurred at your secretariat. And you are saying...
Between who and who?
Between the Americans, Innocent Kalimanshi, and the other group.
That was an in-house...
You said you are not violent. Then what is it that happened on the 1st of May?
That wasn't anything to do with another political
party.
No,
I'm just talking about violent. Whether with another political party or internally.
That wasn't a political violence.
What was
it? It was a family fight that the youths fought.
So as a family you are fighting?
Have you never fought before?
No, I'm asking you. You who said PF is not a violent party.
It happened one, just there. And that does not mean we are a violent political party. When kids are fighting at home, what do you do? Does it mean that they are hooligans?
You said you are not.
No, I'm asking.
You said you are not a violent party.
Are not.
But we've not heard these fights with political parties like PAC. We've not heard DP fighting Munganda. But with the PF, on the 1st of May, it is on record. In-house, you said Munganda. You gave an example of Munganda.
If it was on media, everybody witnessed, and we did not actually run away from responsibility. And what we did was we allowed the police to say, come and deal with the people that are dealing with this violence. Now, what you've seen from the other side is total denial of responsibility. When UPND is involved in any political violence, even where people are murdered, their leader would stand up and say, anyway, my people were just defending themselves. From who? He has never condemned political violence.
So, Mr. Nondo, what do you make the decision that was taken by the Electoral Commission of Zambia to suspend the PF and the UPND after the Mpulungu, Nakonde, Namwala, and the Kanyama incident? They say 2 political parties are violent, the PF and the UPND, and you were suspended.
And after the investigations, what happened in Kanyama, has the PF been suspended? Which political party has been suspended?
The suspension has been lifted.
Which one was suspended?
No, I'm talking about the first incident.
So the first incident, yes.
From all 4 districts.
The Electoral Commission...
And the ECZ say 2 political parties are culprits.
The Electoral Commission of Zambia is a referee. And they did it in their own wisdom.
After doing their own investigations.
Listen.
And they discovered that 2 political parties were loggerheads.
They worked within their powers. And what they wanted to do is, they didn't want to just create a situation where the opposition will begin to think by Electoral Commission of Zambia barishta side na PF, because they've been labeled so many times. No, they are working with the ruling party. That is always the cry. So the Electoral Commission of Zambia leadership used wisdom. But you and I knows to say the Patriotic Front was victim. But
when you say they used wisdom, can you say the time when they suspended the independent candidate in Sioma, when they suspended the UPND to campaign in Ikerengi and Kanyama, they didn't use wisdom?
They used actually the most profound wisdom, because they set a narrative where all of you will be able to understand that these people are not being biased. Because if they did it at first, the narrative would be the ECZ is working with the PF. They are trying to intimidate the opposition and so forth, because that's what crybabies do. Now this time around, because it was just one incident, now from that moment up to date, so many incidences happened and everybody witnessed to say it's only the UPND. No wonder now the arrow is being pointed direct on the culprits.
So the suspension that you received not to be campaigning...
It was not fair, and we even complained. We complained saying, why have you suspended us? Because we are victims. Now, being the big brothers, we wanted to sound so like... We didn't want to sound like babies.
You've talked about your leader, a caring leader, you know, restraining you, members or cadres from the PF not to be engaging in political violence. We have seen the president, after the Kanyama incident, His Excellency President Edgar Lungu has deployed the Zambia Army, the ZNS, and the Zambia Air Force. Can we say the Zambia police have failed to end political violence, as well as you as politicians have failed to end political violence, and that is why it had to take the head of state to allow the Zambia Army, ZNS, and the Zambia Air Force to end political violence?
When you are fighting somebody, in most cases we use fists, right? So when you use a kick, it doesn't mean that the hand has failed. The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and he has a responsibility to protect life and property. So the level of violence that we witnessed in early days was not as bad to warrant the involvement of these other security wings. But we reached a point where our colleagues that are perpetrating violence could not stop. They wanted to turn this country into a game park where somebody would just walk and start killing, you know, people like animals. Then the president says, I have a responsibility to protect my people. And there's nothing wrong for the president to deploy army officers on the streets to protect life, because that's their sole responsibility. Is to protect the nation. When somebody overlooks the law and begin to behave in a barbaric manner that our colleagues are behaving in, wanting to turn a country into a banana state, so that when they lose elections, they can have a justification to say, no, you saw what happened. There was violence. There was this and this. Because that's the narrative they want to run with. And the president said, no, I am not going to sit here and see people dying because somebody wants to become president. The responsibility given to me by the people of Zambia under the constitution of this land, he deployed army officers. And we've heard the cry and the complaints from the opposition. Why soldiers? Why are you afraid of soldiers? Why should people be afraid? If you are not a criminal, why should you be afraid? In fact, people must be happy that the president has deployed more security forces to protect property and their lives.
Mr. Nondo, we have to go, and as we go, you, in your preamble, you talked about 95% that you've delivered almost on 95% of all the promises that you made to Zambians, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes.
For the past 10 years. In the next 5 years, what is it that are you trying to do to complete the 5% that is remaining, or you are coming up with a new projects that you need to complete in the next 5 years with 100%? And I'll just give you a minute to conclude that.
We are going by our manifesto, and our manifesto is anchored on continuity. There are certain projects that we've concluded, and there are others that are ongoing. And this is why Zambians do not want to take risk. They know that Zambia is not a laboratory where you go and start doing political experiments. They want a government that has been tried and tested. And they are also happy that in the 10 years of the Patriotic Front, they've experienced stability and unity. And they don't want somebody to come and destroy this nation. There's a video that is going around for the late president, our founding father, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. Before he died, he left a message for the people of Zambia. And in his message he said, if I look at all these that wants to rule this country, I'm not afraid of anyone to become president, but only one person, in the name of Hakainde Hichilema, because he has attributes of destroying, dividing this country, and let go of the legacy of one Zambia, one nation. The video is there. And this is a message that people must not take for granted. We all know the kind of people that we are dealing with. Let's not pretend. The Patriotic Front has been tried and tested. And we know.
And you feel Zambians are appreciating?
Zambia are appreciating, and what we are saying to our colleagues, with everything that we've done, with the kind of leadership that His Excellency President Edgar Chagwa has demonstrated to the people of Zambia.
Thank you so much.
Mukose. My grandfather used to say, uamina akafupa, akakosena pakupambuka.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nondo, for making an appearance on this special interview on your channel of choice, Muvi TV.
I'm very much grateful to Muvi TV and to the people of Zambia. On Thursday, wake up early in the morning, go and cast your vote on the Patriotic Front, the only political party that believes in development, unity, and peace.
There you have it. This has been Monday's edition of the special interview paid for advert by the Patriotic Front PF, and I've been discussing why PF come Thursday. My guest has been Bwalya Nondo, who is a member of the media team or media committee at the national level in the ruling Patriotic Front. My name is Kelvin Tabula, Chief Fokolu. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, with yet another guest from the ruling Patriotic Front. There you have heard it, that they have delivered on 95% on the promises that they made to you, the Zambian people. Until tomorrow, good night.
Asante.